Under the blinding lights of the Varnan arena, thousands of alien eyes shimmered like cold stars, watching the single human standing at the center of the pit. They'd been promised a spectacle, the trial of strength, the crushing of fragile Deathworlder who had dared to call herself a warrior. The announcer's voice thundered across the stadium, translated into 100 languages, representing the unified worlds of Varnan Prime. Their champion, Gratha the Unbreakable. The crowd erupted. Gratha was a giant of a being, his 4 arms like slabs of metal, his claws capable of shredding steel. He'd ended wars in single combat, and now he was to face her, representing the Terran system, Sergeant Maya Holt, human. The cheer turned to laughter. Some aliens couldn't even control themselves, falling over their seats as a small, lean woman stepped forward. No exosuit, no armor, no enhancements. Just a dark combat uniform and 2 steady brown eyes. Maya rolled her neck once, then adjusted her gloves. "Is this a joke?" Grather growled, his mandibles clacking as he flexed his upper arms. "They sent a child? A weakling mammal?" Maya didn't reply. She just smiled, small, patient, and dangerous. The referee, a gelatinous being named Zur, raised its limb. Combat begins on the bell. No weapons. No mercy. The bell rang once. It never got the chance to ring again. Grather lunged forward with a roar that shook the walls, each step cracking the arena floor. The air rippled with his speed. He was fast, far faster than something that big had any right to be. But before he could even land his first strike, Maya moved. The motion was almost imperceptible. One sidestep, a twist of her torso, and her hands shot up like knives. She caught his arm, pivoted, and in a motion too quick for the cameras to process, she pulled. The sound wasn't like bone breaking. It was worse, a wet, tearing sound that silenced the entire arena. Grather screamed. His upper right arm, the one that had crushed a Rithan tank beast, was gone. Maya stood behind him, holding it. She looked at it with mild curiosity, then dropped on the floor. The audience sat in stunned disbelief. The champion of Varnan Prime, the Unbreakable, was bleeding purple ichor all over the sand, gasping, staring at his own torn limb. What are you?" he stammered. Maya tilted her head. "Human." Grather roared again, fury replacing fear. He charged once more, this time in blind rage, all 4 remaining limbs swinging. Maya ducked the first strike, dodged the second, then stepped inside his guard. Her right fist drove up into his ribs, once, twice, 3 times. The arena shook as his massive form stumbled backward. His chest armor buckled inward. Bones cracked. Maya's expression never changed. She was breathing calmly, eyes sharp and cold, like she wasn't in a fight, like she was performing surgery. "You said I was weak," she said quietly, too softly for most to hear, but the arena microphones caught it. "You have no idea what weak even means." Grather swung his remaining upper limb in desperation. She caught it mid-swing. A twist, a step, another rip. He howled again as the arm tore free, blood spraying arcs. Maya threw aside like trash. "In war," she said, "we call this mercy." He stumbled back, trying to use his lower arms to steady himself, but she didn't let him. One knee strike shattered his jaw. Another hit collapsed his chest entirely. His breath gurgled, and then she grabbed his throat with both hands and, before anyone could react, ripped him in half. The sound echoed across the galaxy, through every broadcast. The crowd didn't cheer. They didn't breathe. The human stood, drenched in purple blood, her hair matted, her gaze locked on the silent audience. The referee floated forward, trembling. The human wins, but Maya wasn't done. She turned her head slightly, looking up at the broadcast cameras suspended over the ring. "You think strength is about muscle or size or claws," she said, voice steady and clear. "You've never lived on a planet that kills you every day just for breathing the air wrong. You've never buried your dead and kept fighting anyway." The arena was so quiet that the hum of her mic feedback could be heard. "You call us Deathworlders," she continued, "but we don't die easy. We don't break. And when you make us fight, She looked down at the bisected corpse of the galaxy's greatest champion. You find out what strength really is. The feed cut out to protect the younger viewers, but by then it was too late. Billions had seen it live. Billions more replayed it in disbelief. The forums of the galactic net exploded with panic and awe. Some demanded sanctions on Earth for extreme combat violation. Others whispered that perhaps the stories were true, that humans, those frail creatures from the death world, weren't to be trifled with. Maya was escorted back to the locker bay by a line of silent guards, all keeping their distance. None dared speak until one of them, a small insectoid cadet, finally whispered, Was that necessary? Maya sat down, wiping the blood from her hands with a towel. Necessary, she repeated. No, but they needed to remember. Remember what? That humanity doesn't start fights, she said. But we finish them. The cadet didn't respond. No one did. Across the galaxy, broadcasts replayed the fight on loop. Analysts slowed it down frame by frame, trying to understand how she'd moved so fast, how her body hadn't shattered from the impact forces. They compared human anatomy to known species, found it laughably fragile, bones brittle, organs exposed, no claws, no armor. And yet somehow this fragile creature had done what no predator, no champion, no synthetic war form had ever managed. End the duel before the bell's second ring. Varna and Prime declared mourning for Gratha the next day. Maya didn't attend. She sat alone in her quarters aboard the Terran frigate Vigilant Dawn, staring at her bruised knuckles. The ship's AI spoke softly. Mission success, Sergeant. Yeah, she murmured. Sure. You appear troubled. Maya exhaled slowly, because every time we prove we're not weak, it scares them more. Should it not? The AI asked. Maya didn't answer. Instead, she stood and looked out the viewport. Stars drifted like dust over black water. Somewhere out there, a dozen civilizations were watching the footage again, recalculating the balance of power. They'll come for us again, Maya said quietly. They always do. And if they do, Maya smiled faintly, then we remind them why Earth is called a death world. The next week, a Varnan envoy arrived at the Terran embassy, not to accuse, not to threaten, but to apologize. They offered a treaty and non-aggression pact, and an official recognition of human combat rights. It wasn't mercy. It was fear, dressed as diplomacy. Maya watched the signing on a holoscreen, sipping coffee as she recovered from the fight. The anchors kept saying she'd ripped their champion in half. She didn't like that phrase, but she didn't correct it either. The galaxy had a short memory. It needed reminders. Later, as she sat on the observation deck, a young recruit approached her, another human soldier, fresh from training. Ma'am, he said, nervous, permission to ask something? Go ahead. You could have killed him in one hit, couldn't you? Maya didn't look away from the stars. Yes. She didn't like that phrase, but she didn't correct it either. The galaxy had a short memory. It needed reminders. Later, as she sat on the observation deck, a young recruit approached her, another human soldier, fresh from training. Ma'am, he said, nervous, permission to ask something? Go ahead. You could have killed him in one hit, couldn't you? Maya didn't look away from the stars. Yes.